Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the world of Arendar, where we last left off. Our intrepid group of adventurers found themselves aboard the Mermaids Tarantella, a pirate ship captained by Barnabas Ackle. After successfully making their way out of the city of Dane Hill, they took to the open seas and were well underway into their journey. After a couple of days, however, they did run into some issues during a routine part of the voyage. A kraken sprung up from the deep, latching its tentacles onto the side of the boat. And it was during that moment that the crew had to fight off the kraken. Give me 1 second. I'm going to fix my music. Somewhere in here. Add pirate music. There it is. Pirate music. But the crew fought off the kraken. Unfortunately for Kaisetria, she did end up with a remnant of the fight, if you want to call it that. As well as one of the former members of the Dane Hill gang was swept overboard and presumed dead as he was launched into the icy depths. But the battle has finished, and the ship damaged a little bit based off of what you guys are able to see. But that being said, what would you guys like to do? Hang on. If you guys are talking, I think Hannah's got you muted. She's coming back with a sandwich. There we go.
Sandwich. Food.
Yeah, what would you guys like to do?
Are we still pukey at this time?
For the most part, most of you are fairly okay. The seas are on the calmer side. Satek still feels a little rough. He's had a pretty rough go of it. At this stage, you guys are about 5 days into your journey. So it was about a 3 to 4 day travel until you hit the Kraken. And then on day 4, the night time, that you guys fought it off. So at this stage, you're about 5 days into your journey. It's very early hours of the morning. You guys are still awake after fighting your Kraken, but you have not rested yet.
Peace, that fills my Kraken.
Well, Satek and his, a little bit characteristic of him, but not unexpected. He's gonna, just be like, man, fuck this. I'm gonna climb up into the crow's nest and I'm gonna, take a nap.
Okay. Yeah, Satek, you go to crawl up a crow's nest, and looking up above you, you're about halfway up the ladder when you see a figure that is standing up in that crow's nest. It's not very large, the actual spot for it, because the ship isn't huge. But yeah, let me go ahead and raise your height real fast. We'll put your height up to 45 feet. You're about 40 feet off the ground currently. Did that take? That did not take. Give me 1 second. There we go. You're about... Gosh dang it. Is my 4 not working? Ah, there it goes. You're about 40...
It's there.
Yeah. You're about 45 feet off the ground. And up there, hammered as all get out, is one of the sailors. He's got quite a few empty bottles kind of strewn around him, and is leaning against the railing when you pop your head up, coming up from the deck.
I'm just gonna look at this crew member and just be like, go sleep it off before I throw you off.
Make an intimidation check.
Since he's drunk, can I have advantage?
I will love it. Give me 1 second while I... 19, nice. Let me go ahead and roll his. Insight. Yeah. He stares at you kind of blurry-eyed, and then mutters under his breath, "It's fucking chilly up here anyways." And he moves to go down the ladder. Unfortunately, because he is also hammered, he is going to make an insight check on whether or not he is of physical capacity to do this. He believes that he is well suited for this task. And so he is going to roll an athletics check to get down, or not athletics, but a acrobatics check to get down the ladder.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Satek, you watch as this crew member makes it probably about 10 feet down the ladder, when the ship is all of a sudden rocked by an incoming wave from the side. And as that wave kind of buoys the ship, he loses his grip.
Well, there's nothing I can do about it.
You hear the classic Willem scream as this sailor plummets about 35 feet downwards, flat on his back on the deck, and lands with this sickening crunch.
Well, I'm just gonna fucking barnacle at net zero. I'll just yell over the side, "Man down!" and go to sleep.
Hang on. Yeah, he is prone and currently unconscious. Everybody else that is not named Satek, make a perception check for me, because you guys are kind of spread along the ship.
Oh, fuck yeah.
There you go, Joey.
Oh, shit.
The healer gets a nat 20 on perception.
It's not a nat 20, it's just a plus 10.
The healer gets a dirty 20 for somebody who just fell and fucked himself up.
Lilith and Ashira, you guys are too busy concentrating, trying to stay on your fucking feet on this vessel. But Kaisetria, you hear the incredibly loud, bone-shattering impact of a body hitting the ground. And you know what that sounds like. This wave of uneasiness kind of fills your bones. And you get a flashback to a scene. And you're not quite sure where it came from. Go ahead and make a insight check for me.
Shit. Oh. Oh. Never mind.
Yeah, that's enough. As the scene plays out in your mind, you see yourself standing, surrounded by bodies, fighting off hordes after hordes of enemies. Faces flash kind of before your eyes, and you don't know exactly who they are, but you see this very clear vision of a large, giant-like creature with a club, smashing that club into the side of a person and them slamming against the wall. And that's what the sound sounds like. That bone-crunching, dead-stop silence. And you look over and you see, lying on the deck, a crew member who is bleeding profusely from his skull. You hear Satek. You hear Satek call down, "Man down," about the time that you hear the impact.
Is he stable?
Go ahead and make a medicine check.
A medicine check from all the way over here.
Well, I mean, you can move over. Yeah, with an 18, you know that it is very likely that he has quite a few broken ribs, a severe concussion, and you are able to potentially guess he might have broken his neck in the fall. you don't know for a fact until you go physically examine him. But based off of how he landed, because he landed on the stairs, head first, basically. So yeah, he is down for the count at the current moment. He is unconscious, just bleeding all over the floor. Give me 1 second. I do need to update his health. There we go.
Oh, he big hurt.
Yeah.
Big hurt you.
Unfortunately, because he was drunk, he took double fall damage. So 35 feet, doubled.
Fucking damn. Here. Make his neck crack back into place. This is gonna be so gross.
Please tell me you're using mend.
You do heal him, but unfortunately, healing word does not mend broken bones. It doesn't stop a concussion. It will cure his hit points and stop some of the external bleeding, but based off of the condition that he's on the ground, you are worried that if you move him in his current state, you could do irreparable damage. But yeah, you do manage to make him stable, and he's no longer bleeding from his ears, but he is going to need some level of medical attention.
I suppose I could try.
Go ahead and make another medicine check for me. I will say a 13 is not enough to potentially diagnose a quick way to mend a broken neck. Unless you have the spell mend, unless you have something that can physically repair a person, then I would say that is not enough to stabilize him and make him comfortable.
Well, careful of the body over here. He's not dead yet, but like one big wave and he might be.
Barnabas looks up from over the tiller and goes, "How the fuck did he fall out of the crow's nest?"
Apparently he's better at climbing up into the crow's nest and not good at all at getting back down.
Was he on the fucking hooch again?
Yeah, it smells like it.
Go ahead and make a deception check for me. The DC is low because yes, he does smell like hooch, but I do need to roll a insight check or a perception check. Oh god. Ooh, yep. There's that disadvantage. That tentacle putting in work already. Barnabas is going to make a perception check based off of Satek yelling down.
Damn.
Barnabas heard Satek yell down, and he goes, "You do know that it'd be quite hard to fall out of the crow's nest unless you have, help, if you will. G. Willikers is a fine sailor, a bit too attached to the alcohol, but he served in me crow nest for nigh on 20 years. Are you able to heal him, lassie?"
Healed him a little bit. He's got broken everything. I cannot mend him, as far as I know.
Well,
Where is the fucking Barnabas?
Yeah, Barnabas is located right here. In the back section. He is.
Yeah.
So if anyone has mend and they want to fucking speak up.
Well, the rock in the hard place be the fact that I am now down a crew member. The only pair of eyes that I had up in that crow's nest. Which means we are going to need a volunteer. And that volunteer is going to be volun-fucking-told. Satek, make a perception check. Yeah, that's more than enough. you hear the whiz of metal flying through the air.
Can I tell what direction?
Yes, it is. It is coming from the direction of the home.
Oh,
Why the fuck are you?
Throwing shit at.
you might be shooting?
As you are making that realization, you kind of turn your head slightly off to the side, and a dagger thunks right into the post where your head was at. And it's got a little piece of paper attached to it.
Just grab the piece of paper and read it.
It says, "I know it was you, fuck twit, you're on watch. Captain Barnabas."
Well, I'm just gonna scribble on the back of the note and just be like, "Tell your crew to lay off the booze," and I'm gonna throw it back at him.
Go ahead
Not
and
hitting him.
yeah. Go ahead. So here's what I want you to do. I know that you've got high enough strength and dex to chuck a fucking dagger. What I want is a percent die. If you roll 20% or below, you will hit Barnabas. So go ahead and roll a percent die. Yeah, you're fine. The dagger thugs right back into the area next to Barnabas, and he looks at the note, and you see this wide, jagged, toothy grin from under his beard, and you just hear this. Yeah. Boys, pick him up, stick a spine back together, take him down to the dock. And two of the men, Kaisetria, kind of go over in front of you, and they pick up G. Willikers, and they carry him down, not gently either, by the way, like no regard for like the broken neck. They just kind of drag him away, and every time his head thunks down one more stair, you just hear this wet, squishy, snapped bone sound.
Yeah. I won't. Be careful with him. Holy shit.
They open up the brig and they just drop him in.
Oh my god. He'll be fine.
Song, Lalith, what are you two doing?
I mean, I heard nothing, so
yeah,
I'm enjoying the pretty ride.
I'm just leaning against the side of the boat and just in my head, just constantly praying to Sintress and just appreciating the ocean.
You have found, Lalith, that the more that you pray, the more this kind of calming sensation washes over you. Go ahead and make a religion check for me.
Now it's your turn to roll like shit.
Mm-hmm.
You don't necessarily hear her speaking back to you, but what it does provide is that the more you're having this kind of private conversation with your goddess, the more the waves and the rocking of the boat and the creaking of the sails doesn't really seem to bother you all that much. You've kind of gotten your sea legs. In the event that a Constitution saving throw is required by the Dungeon Master for Lalith, you will roll at advantage due to your efforts with your goddess. But yeah, as they drag the crew member down below, Barnabas once again takes the helm, and the boat continues to make its way through the night. About halfway through the night, the fog really starts to roll in quite heavy, and you guys see this overwhelming like wall of fog. Who is taking a rest and who is on watch? You do not have a robot. The robot is not here to play sentry, so the robot is currently powered down.
How long has it been since I climbed up there?
I will say that it's been probably about 4 or 5 hours, give or take.
So yeah, I said I was taking a rest. So if it's been 4 or 5 hours, I would be up on watch after 4.
Okay. Was anybody taking watch while Satek was asleep in the crow's nest?
I was.
Okay, go ahead, and whoever was actually up and active, go ahead and make a perception check for me. And then I will request rests once everybody's done. Natural fucking 20. Lalith. Ashira, unfortunately, you were not tall enough to see over the railing. Also, Natural note for Kaisetria. Kaisetria, I need you to make a dexterity saving throw for me, please.
Dexterity is fucking nuts in your mouth, dude. You said save?
Yes, saving throw. You're so fucking lucky. You're so fucking lucky. You stumble sideways as that wall of fog hits you, and the ship rocks, and you start going over the railing. But by the grace of the gods and your ability to think quick on your feet, you snag the side of the railing, and you are not lost overboard in the mist. But for Leyland, with a natural 20, as the ship is going through, you hear the soft snores about 45 feet upwards coming from Satek. Ashira is trying to find a box to stand on to no avail because they're all kind of bolted down to the ship. You do see Kaisetria almost go overboard, but before you can step in, she manages to save herself. But out in the distance, from where you are standing, you see through the fog a very small glowing light that just kind of blinks in and out of the distance. It, from what you're able to tell with a natural 20, it's like your eyes are able to pierce through that fog. And it's about 150 feet away, and then about 100 feet away, and about 50 feet away, and it's moving quite slowly in your guys' direction.
I would tell Barnabas.
Okay. What exactly do you say to Barnabas?
There's a fucking...
There's something that glows slowly making its way this direction, and it's about 50 feet away at this point.
What?
He lets go of the helm for a brief second and peers out, and he is going to make a perception check. He looks out, and his eyes grow kind of wide, and he issues a very quiet order to his first mate that is standing next to him. And then he just barks out an order and says, "Everybody stay calm. This part of the water be rather neighbory, if you like." And about 25 feet away, Lilith, with that natural 20, you are able to see the figure of a water creature. It is swimming kind of awkwardly, though. And before you know it, it has latched on to the side of the ship. It is hanging on to some of the rigging that is down near the side of the ship.
I just kind of lean towards Barnabas and just quietly say, "You got any tips on what to do with that?"
As ye are quite able to see, my hands are a little bit busy with the tiller. If you believe it to be a threat, then do what you do best.
Because you rolled a natural 20, I feel like that is really deserving of a reward of information. The glowing light that you were seeing that was kind of bobbing up and down throughout the distance is a crown, a very small tiara on her head. It was catching and glinting off of the moonlight through the fog, and the fog, of course, amplifying the light effect, so it looked a little bit larger than it was. But it's a small a tiara with diamonds and aquamarine kind of embedded in its silver shape.
I'm just gonna walk towards it and just warn everyone as I walk by to be on guard.
As you get looks, you lean down over the side of the railing. And this is the first time that you're able to get quite a good look at it. And below you is a mermaid. On the young adult woman side of things with that tiara. And she is gripping on quite weakly to the netting. And is bleeding profusely from her side.
I'm gonna ask it what happened.
She eyes you kind of warily, and just shakes her head. No.
Hold on.
She mumbles something in a language, Lilith, that you do not understand. Go ahead and make an insight check for me.
Oh.
That's enough. You don't understand the words, but she clearly is asking for help.
I yell at Kaisetria to get over to her.
Kaisetria, you are about 4 hours removed from watching somebody's brain bounce off of a set of stairs on the way to being thrown into the brig to apparently where the doctor is at. And Lilith calls out to you from near the front of the ship. What would you like to do?
Alright, I guess we'll move there, take a look.
Okay.
Wouldn't hurt to take a look.
Unless,
Unless,
go ahead.
of course, you know, I love beautiful women as much as, like, the next lesbian. And I love helping people. However, she's spooky.
She's hurt and she needs help.
This train of thought, I'm going to say, is not just attached to Joey, but it's attached to Kaisetria. As she's running over, she's like, I love helping people. I love pretty women. But we're in the middle of the ocean and things in the ocean want to kill us. And then you look over the side of the railing. I need you to make a wisdom saving throw.
She's so pretty, she causes you damage.
21 is more than enough to pass. It's not that she's so pretty that she causes you damage, but she is so beautiful that your breath kind of catches in your throat, and then you look at the massive amount of blood that is pooling into the water around her.
Alright. Okay. I'll bite. How do we get the fish in the boat so we can fucking...
Yeah, I know I'm on Woo's category. It didn't update my fucking shit. Yaga, if you could update my stream, that would be fan-fucking-tastic to Dungeons and Dragons. Thank you. It wouldn't update for me, so let's go. Do you attempt to get her on the boat first, or do you attempt to heal her first?
Fucking heal her from here, dude.
Healing word, yo.
Healing word.
Before Kaisetria does, I'm gonna telepathically link to the mermaid and tell her we'll help you.
You hear this response in your mind, Lilith. Musical. Like the tinkling of chimes, the sonorous sound of a bell. And 2 words slip out. Please hurry.
You don't hear. Yeah. I relay it though.
Yeah. You cast healing word, and the gaping hole in her side starts to close up. It's harder with the salt water, basically acting like a brine. But But as that wound starts to close up, you guys see something, for those that are standing off on the side, rather strange. As she's gripping on, a little bit of strength returns to her life, to her limbs, and her legs her fins start forming into legs, and she pulls herself up the side of the boat. And before you stands the most beautiful woman either of you have ever seen in your life. Her dress wet from the sea. She's got this kind of seafoam greenish hair that cascades down her back, and purple eyes. I understand that is an image of a dryad, but absolutely no one has fucking mermaid tokens. I've fucking looked. No one has mermaid tokens. But she stands in front of you, lightly clutching at her side, and once again speaks in a language that you guys are unfamiliar with, and gets about halfway through, and then in kind of a broken form of common, she says, "Where is Kassir?"
I was about to ask what would Kassir do, and it was functionally the wrong fucking choice.
I still have the telepathic mind link, and I'm just gonna be like, "You sure you want Kassir?"
I must speak with him immediately. You are all in grave danger.
Where is Kassir?
I'm gonna yell for Kassir.
Kassir is where? In fact, where is Kassir? Oh, he was like asleep in a fucking hammock. I'll say. Kassir saunters his way over, looks her up and down, crosses his arms, like almost slightly disapprovingly, and says, "Verona, what are you doing here?"
She says we're in danger.
Did you piss off your father again? Again? And she just shakes her head vigorously no. And for the first time, Kassir looks down and he sees where she's like holding her side. And everybody that is on that portion of the deck, make a perception check. Lilith, you are absolutely just enthralled. She got within 10 feet of you, and hey, there's Thomas. And you can't see anything other than her eyes. But Kaisetria and Ashira, you look at Kassir, and his eyes harden immediately at the sight of her being injured on the deck. And then as quickly as it shows up, it fades away, and he turns around and says,
"Everyone, this is Verona Duchamp, the resident princess of the sea, as you will."
Fuck.
I appreciate the fact that you did not immediately open fire. But Verona, what are you doing so far out?
And she kind of just looks down and just mumbles in broken common, "Adventure." And you just see Kassir just sigh.
And
You're hired. Let's go.
And where are your guards?
And she mumbles again, "Ditched them." And you just see him face plant.
Do I need to have a talk with your father?
And she vigorously shakes her head no.
You do know that if you wanted my attention, you could have just visited me in the mansion.
I need everybody, except for Satek, who is currently at this moment asleep on the deck, or in the crow's nest. I need everybody to make a history check for me.
I'm not asleep, I'm meditating. I'm in trance.
dice might have to change.
Ashira!
Read.
Ashira,
Read.
you recall something one of the first times that you entered Kassir's mansion. Because you hear him say you could have just visited the mansion. And you remember going downstairs into the basement, looking for shinies as you were wont to do. And looking over at the pool area that he had in the basement that was for relaxation. And you could have swore that one time you saw a tail fin flip up into the air and then dive down. But when you went over and looked, there was nothing in the pool.
Seer and his booty calls.
He likes to call it sex
Or
on speed
his-
dial.
Not booty, his tail calls?
Yeah.
He's pulling tail.
Respectfully, Polito, yes. Anyways, Kassir goes, tell me what is going on, and we'll truly see if we are in the level of danger that you believe us to be. And I'm going to go ahead and ask for the long rest. Now, it's actually not giving me the option for a long rest. If everybody wants to just go ahead and pop into the character sheet and take a long rest for me, it should just allow you to do it.
Hello.
It did not do it for me. What the fuck? Yeah, for whatever reason, it's not doing it for me.
No worries. Give me a moment. I got you. It might be because you're maxed out on your hit points and shit.
It is possible.
Let me see if it will. Let me take a rest for you. Lap sidebar. You gonna let me do this? Yeah, I think it's because you're maxed on your stuff at the current moment. It's as if you've taken a long rest. So for flavor text, but yeah,
We'll just say that.
Ashira, do you need to take a long rest, recover any spell slots, anything along those lines?
I did.
Oh, you did? Oh, that's weird. It didn't show up on my side.
I had all of the buttons.
No worries. Yeah. Anyways, but anyways, during this interaction, Kassir says, go back through the mansion. I would highly advise next time, Verona, don't ditch your guards. How tall is she? She's probably 5'4", 5'5". Long, slender legs. Much swimmer's build for sure. But she kind of meekly looks down and nods her head. But before she does so, Lalith and Kaisetria, she looks at both of you and beckons both of you forward. Do you choose to go?
Sure. Yep.
Kaisetria sprints.
I'm on it. I'm coming.
Ashira, likelihood of you climbing up and swiping the crown, I would say it would be very difficult with the amount of people around. How tall is Ashira exactly?
3 foot.
Like 3 foot or so.
Okay, so you'd have to jump basically 66% of your height, which is not impossible. But you'd have to jump 66% of your height, and you are welcome to try if you decide that you want to try. But I will let you know right now, the consequences of trying might be really bad.
Okay, if she's that tall, she's not going to try. but she may or may not be sleeping down by the pool for the foreseeable future.
I like it. I like it. But for Lilith and Kaisetria, Lilith, you're up first. You make it there slightly before Kaisetria, and without a word, she reaches out and grabs you by like the front of your tunic and pulls you in and kisses you, and this wave of magic just kind of washes over you, and you hear a whisper, and it says, "For your deference in showing grace." And you have now permanently gained the ability to water breathe. Kaisetria, you get very much the same treatment. She pulls you forward and gives you a kiss, and this wave of magic washes over you. I need you, however, before you get your little boon and your little bonus, I need you to make a charisma saving throw, because that tentacle is going kind of turbo-nuclear at the moment.
I roll to not cream my own jeans.
I will say that is enough. You managed to stifle the absolute utter ecstasy in your voice, and you hear, "For the grace of your healing," and you have also permanently gained the ability to breathe underwater.
Oh, perfect.
You guys have both earned Blessing of the Mermaid. I will make sure that gets applied for your characters, but both of you can breathe underwater. There is still limits, of course. If you plummet to the bottom of the ocean, you will die of ocean fucking pressure. You can't just, like, live underwater. But if you fall overboard, you're not at risk of drowning. So.
Hear me out. What if we tie a rock to them, tie a rope to them, and then slowly ease them to the bottom of the ocean, where they slowly acclimate to the pressure? Could they then live at the bottom of the ocean?
It'd be the same principle as, like slowly lowering a 10-ton tank onto a human body. It ain't gonna happen.
Yeah. You would not be able to lower it slow enough to accommodate for water pressure.
Look, hear me out. Think of all of the shinies that are in sunken ships at the bottom.
Oh. That is very true. But she looks at Kassir and she puts her arm around his and goes, "By the way, ghost ship." And then she saunters off through his little gate that he opened for his mansion as she is heading back home.
Oh, shit.
You guys, what do you do?
Barnabas, ghost ship.
No, we are not a ghost ship. We are quite a, he thunks on the wood, quite a solid one. That.
Okay.
I'm teasing, love. This wouldn't be the first ghost ship that I've ever run across while going through the Sea of Mist. However, unfortunately, the sea is nothing but mist at the current moment, so keep your peepers peeled and hopefully you're able to see where the ship lies.
Cedric, about this time, you have woken up from your meditation nap, kind of uncomfortable. There's not a lot of room in that fucking crow's nest, and it smells like booze, and you didn't even get to have any of the booze, and so it's cramped, it's uncomfortable, it's windy, it's starting to rain. You're kind of damp, and yeah, you are just now waking up.
Well, I'm just gonna take, stock of my surroundings, just like look around and see what the fuck, where we're at, what we're doing.
Right about the time that you wake up, you see this lovely, lovely woman go walking into the portal that you know that Kassir can create for the mansion. And you kind of blurrily rub your eyes for a second, almost as if the waves and the wind are playing tricks on your imagination, because you're stuck at fucking sea on a boat, and there's no new pretty women showing up. And as quickly as you briefly saw her, she saunters away and disappears. And then you look down and Lilith and Kaisetria are just fucking radiating light. Like, by this time, Kaisetria is glowing like a beacon. She is, like, Gondor calls for aid at this current moment. Just radiance pouring off of her.
Well, that's new.
Good gracious, Claire.
But you don't radiate. You may radiate lust, but you don't radiate light.
If you were close enough, you could hear a very rapid tink, 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 tink in that armor as that tentacle is fucking just going to town.
Well, seeing as how two of my companions who weren't glowing 4 hours ago are now glowing, I want to go check it out, and I'm going to do it in typical rogue fashion. I want to slide down the sail.
Okay. Go ahead and make. I'm going to say an acrobatics check. I'm going to have you roll at disadvantage for one reason. It is raining. The sails are wet, and you are fairly high up, and we're meditating / sleeping in a cramped place. So I'm going to say between the combination of those factors, you will roll at disadvantage. However, you still have a fucking 20. Yeah, you backflip. You backflip over the side, and you manage to catch the sail as a gust of wind billows it forward, and you just slide down and land with the grace of a cat right next to Kaisetria. Just pop up and say, "You're glowing."
Yeah, just what the fuck? You're glowing. And
There was a girl.
what's that sound?
You want to see it?
Satek, make an insight check.
An insight check?
Yep, make an insight check.
There was a girl.
There's something in her pants that was not there before. You do not want to see it, unless you do.
I can put 2 and 2 together. Kaisetria talking about tentacles. I would just be like, "Do you have a tentacle under your clothes?"
Why don't you?
Because I don't wear cod pieces.
She's always had that, don't you know?
Always had a massive schlong with suckers.
For another time, why the fuck are the two of you glowing?
There was a girl.
Layla just giggles and she's just kind of in a daze and she's like kind of touching her lip a little bit, kind of in a gay awakening.
Oh,
I'm
gonna steal your spooky bitch from you.
What? What about Osria? What would your wife say?
She'd say that it's really cool that I can breathe underwater now.
And wouldn't she appreciate the suckers?
I could be a man and use a hand, but I've got other assets.
So, anyways, what did I miss?
It's a trap!
You're a nerd.
Anyway, whatever. Just
There was a girl. She was hurt, and then we got her not hurt as much, and so she came and kissed us, and then she left.
Layla just giggles. Mermaid kiss.
hey then. So, where are we?
On a boat.
Ocean, water. I don't know. Go fucking ask the captain. He'd know.
I love how they got a kiss from a mermaid and both got like kind of salty and snippy. Like, yeah, fuck off, man. Like, we're enjoying our memory.
Yeah.
You're asking so many questions.
Be thinking about this later.
Whatever. Well, I'm just gonna like start walking away. Walk back towards. I'm gonna walk up towards the bow.
Okay. Satek, as you make your way towards the bow, and you hear all this talk of mermaids, and you hear all this talk of we got fucking kisses, there's a part of your heart that's a little jealous. Because being a rogue, you generally want things that other people have. And you like pretty women, and you like kisses, and how dare the fucking cleric get a bigger codpiece cover than you, and you know, all these just horrendous thoughts fill in your brain. And as you are walking forward, you're moving towards the bow of the boat, and in front of you, you look over the side, and you see a woman in the water.
Did she not fucking leave?
No, we watched her walk through a portal.
I'll see a woman in the water.
To your right.
To your right.
I could-
Yeah. And she looks you up and down and just beckons you closer to the edge.
What happened?
Give me a moment. Un momento, por favor. Por favor, yeah.
Porpoise.
Hey, whoa, it didn't absolutely fail.
Jesus Christ.
Well, unfortunately, Satek, you are resistant to charm, but you are not immune to charm. Kaisetria, Ashira, Amelia is not actually on... Oop, wrong person. I wanted Amelia. Amelia needs to leave. The robot is in robot form.
The robot can't be charmed in ways.
But yeah, you think to yourself, not happening. And then out of nowhere, you just start walking forwards. And this melodious song fills your head. And right as you reach the edge of the dock, you see this beautiful woman. All the allure in the world. Legends sung about her, wars started. And right as you get to the edge of that boat, Kassir tackles you. I am going to make a strength check. You can either do acrobatics or whatever you prefer to contest it. But you are charmed, so you will have to contest it.
How about I just do a strength save?
Yeah, that's fine.
Get me at
Oh,
her.
dirty 20. Dirty 20. '23. Kassir tackles you, and the moment that you hit the ground, you are pissed. How dare Kassir get in the way of your one true love? You are destined to be with her forever in the depths of the sea. You are clearly not thinking clearly. So that being said, give me just 1 second while I get everybody that is currently charmed, or technically everybody. And I need you all to roll some fucking initiative.
Sheer with the 4.
Ashira coming up strong with the 4.13.
It happens. It absolutely happens. For sake of the exact same thing I did last time, I am going to remove most of the pirate crew members because they are manning the boat. I will, however, leave Ricardo in there because Ricardo is not originally part of the boat. Okay, and Kassir, We got I'll just roll everybody else. Kassir, there we go. Kassir has got you kind of like pinned down and grappled, and he's fighting off Satek. He's fighting off your knife hand. Like he's like trying to like pin it down. And he is going to cast upon you. Give me just 1 second. I gotta zoom in for controls. And he is going to cast upon you. I have a he is going to cast Calm Emotions. And yes, I will need to place a spell slot. You guys all failed your saving throw,
That's
which
good.
is great because you are no longer charmed. And as he's like fighting you on the ground, Satek, all of a sudden you just hear this like voice ring out that says, "Dispel," and the charm that is on you goes away. Let me get Shira's, and unfortunately, Ricardo is not in range, but Ricardo is still very much in love with his goddess of the sea. And Kassir looks down at you and goes, "Don't ever make me pin you again. No thank you." And stands up.
You touching cod pieces over there?
Oh, fucking Christ. But that brings us to you, Satek.
I just like shake my head and just be like, God fucking damn it. Can I just have one day where something doesn't go wrong?
You chose to be an adventurer.
I'll look at Kassir and just be like, thank you. I'm going to turn around and I'm going to shoot this bitch in the face. I woke up cranky because I'm tired and I'm cold and wet. So, yes. Very much going to shoot this bitch in the face.
Yeah, you definitely hit her. You definitely hit her. You launch a crossbow bolt out of your little hand crossbow, because she's bobbing up and down in the wave, so getting at her with your daggers is basically an impossibility. But you shoot her, and the moment that bolt strikes her, you see her mouth, which was the face of this beautiful woman, stretch into this ghoulish fucking horror, and these razor sharp teeth just kind of spring into place, kind of like a snake's fangs normally would. They like snap out, and you just hear this blood curdling scream as she just rages in your general direction, and all visage of that beautiful woman is now gone. Not a deal breaker for Kaisetria, man.
Well, yeah, definitely not a deal breaker for Kaisetria. She's into that shit. Okay, well, so after that, I'm just gonna look at this, not beautiful creature anymore. I'm just gonna be, spit over the side of the boat and just be like, stay out of my fucking head.
I like it. Anything else you want to do on your turn?
Ew.
Okay. That brings us to that Siren, in fact, and what she is going to do is she is going to do Screech. Which I have to rotate this way. And she is going to Screech. And this wave of like sonic energy erupts from her scaly mouth, and this overwhelming force just comes rushing into your guys' eardrums. Kaisetri, you take 10. Layla, you take 10, and Kassir also takes 10. Why did it not hit Satek, who was right in front of me? No, well, Satek, I'll just say you got lucky. I'm not redoing it.
Nah. I saw that and I was like, huh, it didn't hit me.
Yeah, it definitely should have. However, as she screams out, you guys then see Ricardo, the other one of the crew members, start making his way. Oops, I need this one. Start making his way toward the edge of the boat. Where is... It's hard to remember where I placed all of them. And he is going to teeter on the edge of the boat. Ignore the cannonball. And he is going to make a wisdom saving throw of whether or not he jumps overboard. Wisdom save. He has no wisdom. Hey, he rolled a 17. He thinks about it for another moment, but does not actually jump. Layla, that brings us to you.
Okay. Is the siren like up level with the railing?
No,
Or
it
is
is.
she like down below?
She's down below. She's about 10 feet below. The boat is fairly weighed down with goods and with people and stuff. And so the deck is about 10-ish feet above the top of the waves on average. So she's about 10 feet below. But if I put -10 for her relative to your guys' height, then she disappears off the map. So
Going to go here. And shoot down at her.
Yeah.
With Eldritch Blast. Damn.
yeah, you managed to connect with both. You managed to connect with all three because you leveled up. You get
I
3
did.
Eldritch Blasts. Yeah. And Satek, at the moment you spit over the side of that water, Layla fires these Eldritch bolts out, and all 3 of them just slam into the side of the Siren. And she once again lets out this god-awful screech.
Oh, oops.
Kaisetri, that brings us to you.
Alright, so am I not able to target that? Bitch?
Not-
Target. Target these fucking nuts in your mouth, dude. Get over here. Oh. Oh, I see. Okay. Fine. Oh, I would eat a fucking guiding bolt. Bitch. Oh,
Miss! Eat a
Sweet.
miss! Yeah, you conjure up this guiding bolt in your hand, and you fire it forward, but at that moment, the waves rock the ship up a little bit, and it clips the side of the railing, and splinters go everywhere.
now part of the boat is going to look shiny. That's fine. That's fine. We're gonna take a step away, then another step back. Whoa, that's not at all where I needed to be. I'm not drunk.
I'm not drunk. Oh, actually, on that note, I totally forgot. For song, for your natural 20, here's my shot. I totally forgot. Whew.
Did you take one for my natural 20 earlier too?
I did, yes. Okay. The moment that first siren lets out this ungodly screech, another one pops up from the waves.
No.
And they are going to reach out.
Where's this one?
Stop with the cannonballs. Hang on, I'm actually going to turn off
Can I shoot a bitch in the face with a cannonball?
I'm gonna turn off the access for this. There we go. And she is going to go out and target Ricardo, who is standing at the edge. And she is going to try to latch onto him with her talons. And she does manage to do so, and so she will attempt to grapple him with a athletics check. And he gets to roll contested. And he rolls a 4. And you guys hear this, "I'm coming, my love," and a splash as Ricardo hits the water. He is overboard. Ricardo, move. There we go. And 1 second effects. Underwater. Where are you? It's not giving me the option for underwater. Nice. That's fine. I'll just say that he is grappled. There we go. That'll work. And that is the end of that Siren's turn. And another one. Pops up. And what is their movement? They have a swim distance of 60 feet. Oh, I need measure. Let me move this guy on over. Yes, I know it attempts to collide with at least one wall. Fine, I'll just can teleport your ass. There you go. Same shit. And this one is also going to start off with alluring voice. That one manages to charm Lilith, Satek again, Kaisetria, Ashira.
I'm supposed to be immune to it for 24 hours, or
No.
is it just for that?
That's only if you pass the save. You did not pass the save. Kassir calmed emotions, which is different. You have to actually pass the save from the effect. If Kassir does like calm emotions, that doesn't give you immunity to that second alluring voice from the siren.
Okay, if you're gonna hiss at me, then I'll put you down.
Oh, she's steady.
Berlioz is getting mad. Okay, that brings us to Ashira.
Sorry, I was distracted by a fluffy cat going rebellious on me.
That's totally fine. Ashira, you hear this voice in your head echoing, "We have a lot of shinies down in the deep just for you. Everything you could possibly ever want will be yours if you join us."
That is exactly what a siren would use to attract a sheriff.
Yep.
She doesn't want sex, she wants shinies.
You're such a fucking stereotypical asexual dude. Give me rocks.
Hey, I mean, you could have totally asked for diamond encrusted nipples. Like, think outside the box.
That is my 25 feet.
Okay.
Now, I am compelled to go towards them. However, I also know that if there are shinies down there, I'm going to have to do an awful lot of digging. So, I walk my 25 feet towards, and then I am going to...
Your shift.
Uh-huh. If it registers me clicking buttons.
Wild shape. Oh no. Oh no.
Double wild shape.
Wait, me and my pop-up. There we go. Now, I know I'm gonna have to dig deep. What can go deep but a giant seahorse?
Comes with,
Alright,
of course,
by the way,
attachment.
I don't.
It comes with a pocket, which I can then put the shinies in.
I don't have an icon for a giant seahorse. I apologize. So you're just gonna be mystery man. Of all the things that I expected you to take. However, Song, there was a very small problem. Very, very minor problem. What do seahorses breed?
The water quickly next turn.
It's raining.
However, no,
Manage
hang on. I need to finish this thought. What do seahorses not have? Fucking legs or arms. So you turn into a giant seahorse and then immediately fall fucking horizontal and are lying on your side, unable to move, flopping around on the deck. So, unfortunately,
there.
unfortunately, you are prone.
Only for a minute. One of these suckers will throw me in.
Christ the fucking mighty. Yeah. Anything else you want to do on your turn, Ashera? If not, I'll go ahead and move it back up to. Okay, perfect. Kassir looks around and he has watched Satek right in front of him go through this fuck off and die, and then immediately is drooling once again at the supposed beautiful woman in front. And Kassir just kind of sighs to himself and goes, I didn't sign up for stupidity. Fine. And he is going to once again cast Calm Emotions.
Shit.
Except Kaisetria, you resist. You resist. You are in love. In fact, all thoughts of the mermaid that you just snogged have completely left your mind. And because of that, you are in danger of losing your mermaid's kiss. But let me real fast remove everybody who passed. Well, passed is a relative term. Remove your charmed. The charm gets removed. I'm gonna pop back just real fast to Ashera. And Ashera, you realize that you have changed yourself into a giant seahorse and are now prone on the side of a deck. But yeah, other than that, that is going to be the end of Kassir's turn. Bet that tentacle is wagging now. Christ. Satek, once again, you find yourself having been duped for the second time. And then you hear the loud, wet slap of something fish-like hitting the deck, and you look over and there's a giant seahorse flopping around on the deck, and you can only imagine that that must be the druid. We're a mess.
Getting real fucking tired of this. So, can I use a bonus action for throw? I should be able to do that, right?
Yes. If you throw with your offhand.
Good. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to shoot the bitch in the face again.
Yeah, that'll definitely hit.
And then I'm going to use my bonus action. I'm going to have to say that I'm doing this with Bloodlust because my Electrum daggers are, it says they're an action, not a bonus action.
Go ahead and just go ahead and use the Electrum ones, and I'll just manually tag your bonus action. I can do that.
Cool.
Yeah. And you throw your daggers, and let me. Oops. Yep. I'm just gonna put your bonus action as used. Yeah. You just chuck an Electrum dagger out, and it sticks right into her rib cage, and she's now bleeding quite profusely into the water.
And then I'm just gonna like as a free action, I'm just gonna call out there. She's got a dagger in her. Anybody with lightning is more than welcome. And that'll end my turn.
You look over at the robot who is asleep. That Siren is going to David, if it prompts her an attack of opportunity, please decline it because she is 10 feet below you.
I will decline it.
She is gonna move back a little bit and
I didn't even do it.
oh, nice, good. I think it's because there's a wall there, but I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't gonna do it. And she is going to attack with her screech again. Oh, did it not target any? Oh,
there's no targets to save.
yeah, it's because it's because of the wall. So how I have to do this is like technically from an angle. I'm still doing it from as if she was shouting it from herself, but in order to hit people properly, I have to do it inside the wall. Once again, it missed fucking. I don't know how it's missing you. You're gonna get a special one, or actually, just make a Constitution saving throw for me, David.
Make a con save. Go back.
If you pass, you'll take 9. You passed. So you can either take 9 or you can uncanny dodge and take 4.
No, I'm gonna take the full 9.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know why it's not wanting to target you, but it wasn't wanting to target you. Okay. But she screams out again, but this time it's more like a blood-curdling, disgusting, like wrenching scream. And as she's in the middle of this, out of nowhere, you see this dark mass that is coming from the bottom of the seafloor. And she is halfway through her scream when a gargantuan shark bites into her and rips her in half.
Sick.
Is that the mermaid?
There's always a bigger fish.
Daddy?
God. Go ahead and everybody make a insight check with the exception of Kaisetria, because Kaisetria is still charmed.
I don't see shit.
Lilith and Ashira, this you recognize the kind of magical feel. It's the same one that mermaid had. Satek, who did not see the mermaid, just sees a shark that ate a siren in front of him. So he is unaware of whether the shark is friendly or not. All he knows is that a bigger fish showed up.
I may be unaware, but the enemy of my enemy.
That's for sure. And as quickly as it appeared, the shark takes the still alive, barely screaming siren down into the depths, and you just hear this gurgle and a bloody pile of bubbles just kind of bubble up as it dives back underneath the waves.
Hot.
That will bring us to Ricardo, who is in the water, and he does get to attempt to make his charisma saving throw. He does get to attempt to make it, and I do have to figure out what the saving throw actually is. Lowering voice, it's DC 15. Ricardo has absolutely failed. He is now, at this stage, 15 feet underwater. And so is that siren.
Good riddance, I guess. Just doing a job my fucking ass, dude.
Layla, that brings us to you.
Good riddance to battery.
Okay. I can see the other one in the water from my vantage point, correct?
Because there's a cannon there, I'm going to say go ahead and make a perception check for me.
No.
You do not. You do know where the sound of the scream came from was that general direction, but you don't know exactly where. So in the interest of fairness, what I'm going to say is go ahead and flip a coin for me. A 1, you move towards that siren. A 2, you move more towards the middle of the deck. 2, you move towards the middle of the deck. So you know that it came from that side of the ship, but you don't exactly know where. So you are unable to immediately spot that siren.
Hey. From here, can I see it?
Make one more perception check for me. I'm going to say no. With it being 10 feet down near the side of the boat, there's not enough of an angle because it's mainly their heads above water. They haven't attempted to board yet. However, you can do something like mage armor should you want to. Give yourself a little bit better AC. Just remember to target yourself. Perfect. And anything else you want to do?
Nope.
Okay.
Because I can't fucking see shit.
Kaisetria, you are compelled in every manner to move towards the sound of that voice. You must
Which
use,
This one?
yep, that one. You must utilize your full movement in order to attempt to get there. And that includes if your full movement is greater than the side of that boat, there's a possibility you're jumping.
Sweet.
So go ahead and get as close as you can.
Yeah, I guess we're jumping.
Not yet. Well, not necessarily. Go ahead. As you are standing over the edge, make a wisdom saving throw for me.
Oh, I'd love to. The browser crashed.
I got you. Would you like me to roll it for you?
Sure.
Wisdom saving throw, which luckily you should be more than equipped for. You rolled a 19. You don't jump. I am very quickly going to disable these triggers. However, you still you don't jump, so you do stop your movement. You can't choose any actions, but you are able to make your charisma saving throw. It is a saving throw of 15.
We could do that.
Jesus Christ. Meets it, beats it. In a moment of clarity, you find yourself. Hold on a second while I move this over. In a moment of clarity, you find yourself with a clear mind, and you are now teetering on the edge. Even though you did not jump as the ship is rocking, I need you to make a dexterity saving throw for me as well.
Full of beans.
You do manage to stay on board the ship, and you take one step back, and now you're on the safe side of the railing. But as you come to your senses, you see the beautiful face of the siren below you turn in that same grotesque manner that that Satek saw, and instead of beauty and grace and eloquence, you now see a living nightmare of a monster. These bulbous eyes, these pointy teeth, and you wonder how you could ever have possibly forgot about your mermaid love, as she looks like fucking fish cakes. But you are now immune to the siren's charm effect. Keep in mind that if it goes off, it will automatically add the effect. I will just have to manually remove it because that's the way that it works. So if you fail your save, I'll just manually remove it. So it automatically adds it. But yeah, that does take your full turn in order to do that, to break that charm. That is going to bring us to the second siren, and her and Ricardo are both. One second. Her and Ricardo are both gone as they vanish into the sea. Which brings us to the siren that is attempting to get Kaisetria. In Kaisetria, it is going to kind of crawl up the side of the boat, just enough. There we go. And it is going to multi-attack. And it's going to attack you with the talons twice. It will miss with the first one. And it will hit with the second one. And then it is going to attempt to screech.
Oh, did it take my fucking tentacle?
Yeah. Gosh dang it. Stupid walls. There we go. Un momento. It's I have 3 uses of this. Why are you not working? There we go. I have 3 uses. I only use this one once. Okay. We're gonna try like that.
Sweet.
Okay. Yeah, and you guys do you do end up taking damage. You take 18 points of damage from Screech. Ashira, that brings us to you. You are currently a giant seahorse, sideways, flopped on the deck.
Flop, flop, flop. You're a Magikarp.
Yeah, because one of the things about the new D&D rule set is that druids can talk in wild shape. Unfortunately, in my campaign, we are still in 2014 rules. You cannot talk, so everybody just sees a. What color are you, by the way? They describe to us your seahorse.
Even if she could talk, Ashira would choose not to. She is literally just going flop, 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 flop. But she's a giant seahorse flopped on the deck, and she's going to attempt to floppily roll herself towards the side of the ship.
Okay. Real fast, because I actually don't know. In fact, I'm going to pause this so that way your timer doesn't run out. What is the dimensions of a giant seahorse? Like, what's height, width, shit like that?
Hold on.
We have answers that we need. That we absolutely fucking need.
I mean, they're large enough that aquatic elves train them as mounts.
Okay. That's much bigger actually than I fucking was thinking. I was thinking it was like maybe 1.5 feet, 2 feet tall. So what you're telling me is that you are a rideable creature flopping around on the deck. Okay. So I'm just going to make the assertion that if you are large enough for an elf to ride, an elf is anywhere, let's say fantasy, from 4 to 6 feet, right? Just on average. Don't know how big a fucking sea elf is. So I'm going to say that you're 5 feet tall and you weigh about 150 pounds. I'm just spitballing numbers here because I don't actually know. And every time you flop, the wood underneath you on the deck starts to creak. How many times have you said flop, flop?
5.
7.
I mean, I've typed it 7.
Okay. What I need you to do is I need you to roll 76 for me.
You're a fucking mess.
But you said 150 pounds. That's not enough to cause damage to the deck, though.
It is if it is considered medium toughness. It's made of wood. If you have something that is 150 pounds slamming into the same spot on a deck, it will absolutely... Like, you could drop a cannonball and dent the wood. 28. Okay. The benchmark to do damage to medium toughness is 25. She rolls 28. You hear a loud crack from underneath you. And all of a sudden, your seahorsey body, which you have been trying to get towards the side of the deck, is now half submerged in a small portion of the wood.
Try it again.
What was that? Sorry?
I said, hey, I'm upright again.
You are technically upright, and in fact, make a Constitution saving throw for me because you are out of the water. What I think I find the funniest about this, objectively speaking, is the fact that Sog is no longer charmed, Ashira is no longer charmed, and yet she is still in pursuit of the idea of the shiny in the ocean floor.
Just because they were charmed does not mean they were lying to me.
That is true. I do see that you guys got disconnected on the Foundry side. Is it reconnecting?
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah. Is it a second?
I don't. That one's not attached to the DHCP timer. That's just Foundry being fucking dumb. So, actually, on that note, we're gonna take a very quick break, guys. So that way, if people need to run to the restroom or grab a snack, they can totally do so. But we will be right back. Okay, we are back. We got everybody reconnected. Song, but yeah, like I said, you are now like stuck in the partially stuck. You're not like halfway through it, but you're the lower portion of your seahorse body is kind of wedged between like a few cracked boards. Floppity flop. Is floppity flop different from flop flop?
So, flop flop is back and forth in the attempt to sort of like wiggly sea creature army crawl to the side, whereas floppity flop is sort of like when you see ducks doggy paddling with their feet because they're trying to rise up, but just in wood.
Just in wood. Yeah. Saytek, you look over off to your right and you see a furiously struggling giant seahorse that is destroying the deck as we speak, unable to lift herself out.
I'm just gonna shake my head and just be like, why does this not surprise me?
Ashira, what actions would you like to take on your turn? Because you still have actions that you can do. Flavor Texas, you just got stuck.
Okay. So I clearly can't go up. Can I go down?
No.
Oh God.
Just drop myself into the hole? Maybe I'll even land
Are you
like a guy.
Stupid.
This.
I'm
You-
kind of an idiot.
Yes, you can go down. Is that what you are attempting to do?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna attempt to drop myself down into the hole.
Okay. First off, go ahead and roll an attack as your seahorse, I guess. You don't have to target anything, but I care more about the roll and the damage.
I mean, but there's already a hole.
Well, it's not a hole wide enough for you to fit through. I will say a 15 is enough to hit for sure. Yeah, you plummet through the bottom, or you plummet through the deck. You manage to widen the hole enough with your kind of furious kicking and stuff, and about the top of the deck, the ship is fairly deep under the water. So from the top level of the deck to the bottom of the hole is about a 15-20 foot drop. For every 10 feet that you drop, it's 1d6. So you will take some damage. 1d6 times 2. You take 5 points of damage. Give me 1 second. I know I've got it paused. So you take 5 points of damage. And in addition, I need you to roll a percent die for me. Oh no.
9.
Oh no. About this time, the two men that were carrying the G. Willikers
Oh.
are just passing underneath you as you come plummeting like a fucking squishy rocket. And they're like carrying him like, you know how you used to grab like or as a child, like your parents would grab your arms and legs and like swing you, right? They're kind of carrying him like that, and you crash right through his sternum and you bend him in half. And you just hear this crunch. But you are now lying on the bottom of the hole. But unfortunately, he did toss me out of the porthole, flop, flop. Go ahead and make a performance check for me. Does your spare the dying go off? No, it does not. He is not considered a member of the Lost. Performance check? Okay, hang on. I'm just gonna roll a generic D20. Yeah, you convince him to chuck you out the porthole. They take one look at you. They grab you the same way, and they chuck you. 1 second. They chuck you outside. and you are no longer prone because you are now, and with a splash, you have successfully made it into the water.
I do believe that's all I can do this turn.
Okay. I'll go ahead and unpause real fast. At the end of your turn, I do need to add real fast before you end. Let me toggle because he's supposed to be at the end of the turn, so I'm just going to make him a 1. Okay. Go ahead and end your turn whenever you're ready.
We never questioned what is Shearing's intelligence.
No, because the questions are rhetorical.
So,
Yeah.
Ashira, I know your turn just finished, but as it gets back around to environment's turn, I need you to make a perception check for me.
So right now?
There, sure.
I will say that's enough because it's kind of hard to miss, but your splashing and your obvious aquatic form has attracted the attention of a monster of the deep, if you will. And while you weren't necessarily paying attention to watching a Siren get ripped in half, this creature is under orders to do everything within its power to help out what it believes to be the friends of the mermaid. And it does not see you necessarily as a friend. It sees you as a fellow sea creature. And so, it is going to attempt to bite at you from its stealth position. It did not target you. You are very lucky, because I will roll again.
Damn.
And all of a sudden, you are outside of wild shape. Let me unhide him now. Outside of wild shape with a giant shark grasping you in his mouth. However, the moment you unshift from wild shape, you do basically get a torso full of teeth. But the moment he bites down and starts to put a little bit of pressure, and your wild shape pops, he immediately releases you from his mouth and dives back into the water. Also, you should no longer be charmed. I need to remove that real fast because that's technically attached to your... There we go. You're no longer charmed. And he dives back under. That brings us to Kassir. And Kassir is going to move in this direction. He can move 35 feet. He's just going to move closer to the middle. And then he sees Kaisetria getting ready to jump. And he targets Kaisetria and does... actually, let's see. I don't know if that's going to work. Yeah, he will do... Oh, I already moved. I can't get close enough. Never mind. Oh, he can technically get Lilith with it. He can't reach Kaisetria, but he is going to do enhance ability on let's see. Eagle Splendor, advantage on charisma checks on Lilith. And that will be the end of his turn. Satek, that brings us to you. You just watched the giant seahorse collapse through the deck where there's now a hole. The screams of a man who got absolutely flattened and his spine crunched. You hear the chuck of something heavy and the splash, and then you see a shark bite the seahorse in the ocean, and that seahorse turn into a Shira.
This stage just keeps getting better and better. So, then what I want to try and do, let me look at my inventory real quick. I just want to make sure that I have specific item in there. And I do not have said specific items, so that ruins what I want to do there. Okay, so looking out, like I obviously heard the siren screech around to my, 3 o'clock?
Yeah, you know the general area, but once again, same thing that I had Layla do because of the cannon's position. The cannons are actually fairly large. They're 9s. Go ahead and make a perception check to hone in on the exact location, because as you guys, the ship is still sailing, and the sirens are bobbing up and down in the water. Satek, you know almost exactly where the sound is coming from. You are able to fairly well pinpoint the relative position of the siren to the ship.
Okay, so that I want to start heading in that direction. So what is that? That's going to be 5, 10, 15, 20.
This
25.
this spot right here, just as a quick heads up, if you're going over this, that is the hole in the ground. That kind of square. So if you want to go straight over, I'll just have you make a dexterity check, or you can jump it with athletics. You won't lose any of your movement, but you'll have to make a check to go across it.
I won't even really have to do that, because I can go just like this. So there's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35.
That works.
So I can avoid the hole. And then I would like to try and, basically straddle the cannon.
Oh, you're gonna fucking
Yeah, I'm gonna fucking
what's that?
Belushi this.
I love.
Steve Buscemi.
I was gonna say what's that fucking ride a rocket to hell or some. Yeah.
No, it's gonna be like Armageddon style.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, go ahead. I will say go ahead and make a dex check. DC is going to be a 10 just to hop up and not slip off because it's kind of wet. It's made of metal. It's wet. Yeah, you hop up there. You manage to not wring your nuts on the fucking cap. So
And then do I have clear line of sight of the siren now?
you do.
Cool. I want to shoot this bitch in the face.
You shoot said bitch in the face.
And then I'm just going to call that. There's another one. And that'll be the end of my turn.
Layla, that brings us to you. You do see Satek fire his shot, and you hear the gurgling kind of scream that comes from the siren, and you are now aware of their position. There is a sneaking thought of it might be funny if you tabletop Kaisetria into the water, but that is quickly replaced with, but I think the gnome's already in there.
Shoot that bitch in the face.
Oh, I will. I blast the face.
Boom.
That's unfortunate. Your first one rolled a 1 on its D10 of damage. That is a little unfortunate, but you do manage to do a pretty substantial chunk of damage to the siren, who looks at you angrily, teeth just kind of bared as this unnatural hiss just emanates from her lungs. Kaisetria, you sure you don't want to go play in the water?
I'm pretty sure.
Beautiful women await. Apparently, that's all it takes.
That one a little sea crusty.
Sea crusty. You don't want to show her the sea cucumber, huh?
No, it's mine. Well, first, I'm gonna fucking get one of these off. I think. Beacon of Hope is that bitch, right?
Bacon of Hope is nice.
And then I do one of these. Actually, yeah, it's fine.
Nice. Everybody heals for 16. Or you heal yourself for 16 because it's healing word.
Yeah.
Okay, that brings us to the Siren. And the Siren is going to... Give me 1 second. It is going to use its last alluring voice. And I know, Kaisetria, let me take yours away. Because you cannot be charmed. However, Kassir passes. The giant shark should not have been targeted. He's like technically not fucking there. He's under the water. Layla, you pass. The only one I believe who did not pass is Ashira and Satek. Ashira, you find yourself once again in the water, craving shinies. And she is going to... There we go. And is going to... Let's Screech. And try and get as many people as possible. Kassir does pass his Constitution saving throw. Satek, you do fail yours. You take half damage though. And okay, so everybody takes 7. Yeah, okay. And that is going to be the end of that Siren's turn. Ashira, the call of the shinies is now back upon you.
Well, I would have done this anyways. But now I am compelled by the compellment.
Use your second wild shape. We going back into giant seahorse?
Get man. What can I tell you? Best place to store shinies. And I'm gonna start swimming downward.
Okay. What is the swimming speed of a giant seahorse?
40 feet.
Oh, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Yeah, so you start swimming downwards. I'm not going to move you to minus 40 feet simply because then you'll disappear from the map technically, and I want to see where you're at. But you start swimming downwards 40 feet. You get about 25, 30 feet under the water, and it is gorgeous. You see this kind of like coral seabed. The water is about 50, 60 feet deep, give or take. In some places, it drops quite a bit further. But looking below you, you do see a small, it looks like a dinghy. It's a small boat that's got tattered sails, is covered in barnacles, and it does have what appears to be a small chest on it. It's about another 30 feet below you, but around that boat, you see swimming that shark.
Well, you said about 30 feet below further.
Yes, so you've moved about 30 feet. If you go another 10, it's going to be about 20 feet below the extent of your distance.
gonna use my dash and I'm gonna attempt to make it to the.
You cannot. It is a bonus action to. Oh no! I forgot. Yeah, I was thinking rogue for whatever reason. You absolutely can. Yeah, you can totally dash.
Okay, I would like to make it to the chest.
Okay.
I can't do anything about the chest this turn, but
Go ahead and make a stealth check for me.
okay.
It will roll a perception check. It doesn't see you. You managed to blend in with the coral and the flora and fauna of the undersea, just enough that even though you're quite a large seahorse, between the dappled patterns of the light and the bottom of the seafloor, you actually blend in quite well, and you managed to make it to the chest. Go ahead and make your charisma saving throw for me. Flop, flop, sneak, sneak. You are definitely still charmed. But
The shiny's right in front of me.
is
How
there?
could I not be charmed by that idea?
That is true. Is there anything else you want to do on your turn?
No.
Okay. That will bring us to that shark. He is going to do another perception check. He rolled a 15. He rolled a 17. He still doesn't see you. But he is going to move in the direction underwater over there. And that is going to be the end of his turn. Which brings us to Kasir. Who once again sees Satek drooling all over himself. And is going to walk up, target Satek, and cast his cast Calm Emotions once again, but this time at 3rd level. Because I'm out of 2nd level spell slots. And luckily Satek rolled a 2. Satek, you are no longer charmed. Natural, nope. Take a shot.
I don't have any. I'm out.
Oh, you.
Oh, I'm out. That's fine.
I've had 4 already.
Christ. Unfortunately, Layla, that does mean that enhance ability on you has expired because I can't concentrate on 2 things at the same time. But that is going to be the end of Kasir's turn. Satek, that brings us to you. You were crotch rocketing this cannon when the touchy feelies went away.
Rinse and repeat. I'm gonna shoot the bitch in the face.
You definitely hit.
And then I'm gonna do the same thing with the Electrum Dagger. I'm gonna throw another one.
Sounds good.
And that's a natural fucking 20, mind you.
That was great. I got to take a shot. Unfortunately, you did roll a little bit low on the damage side of things for it, which is unfortunate, but...
Yeah, it was minimum damage, but it was doubled, so...
But still. But still, man. Not too bad. Okay. Anything else you want to do?
Nope, that will be it.
Layla.
Oh shit.
Oh. And just for flavor. Oh, man.
How do you want to do this?
I'm just gonna charge up my hands and just out of pure frustration of them ruining the good moment of the kiss from the mermaid,
Yeah.
just fucking Dragon Ball Z, Kamehameha, chunks in the water.
Yeah, and with
Explode.
a last gurgling kind of scream, that Eldritch Blast, the third one, hits it in its exposed chest, where you'd been pinpointing, and it just kept carving out like small little chunks of blast, and then it hits and compresses, and then erupts, and just chunks of Siren go everywhere. And out of nowhere, like this entire flock of seagulls just starts screaming mine and diving into the water, just picking up chunks of Siren and then flying off into the distance. Nice job, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and end that real fast. Transfer to lootable. Excellent. Ashira. You can't really hear what's going on above you, but you find yourself as a giant seahorse in front of a rusty old chest that is lying 50, 60 feet below the surface of the water. The shark has been circling kind of around, not really spotting you. But then you look around, and a bit of your blood, because you are injured, is still leaking out. And it catches a whiff. And from about 60 feet away, it spins almost on a dime and starts swimming for you. What do you do?
My capacity to grab the chest. Or open the chest.
If you are in the form of a giant seahorse, you would have to ram it open. There is one slight inherent problem with trying to like grab things out of the chest. You'd have to try and do it with like your mouth and then drop it into your pouch because you have no hands. So you could unshift and go back into your regular form, but then you're 60 feet under the water trying to carry whatever out, because I think you're out of shifts. So you would be able to, I'm just taking a look at like what attacks and stuff you actually have. Yeah, you'd have to ram it.
Ram it open. Could I use my tail to grab whatever's inside of it? Presumably.
I don't know if your tail is going to be prehensile enough, but I'll let you roll for it.
Tails are.
I'll let you roll for it, absolutely.
Ramming.
Yeah.
Get it open.
I will give you 3 attacks at it. You will have to do a total of at least 12 points of damage in order to break the lock. Okay, you're up to 6. So you'd have to roll a 6 on this. And it's a 3. You managed to break open a decent portion of it. It doesn't quite flop loose, but you are able to grab about 30 gold pieces out of it, as well as a small gem. You can't get the full treasure, but you are able to grab about 30 gold pieces. Go ahead and make a dexterity check as your seahorse for your tail to retain grip on the gem as you try and slide it into your pouch.
You said dexterity?
Yeah. Yeah, I'll definitely say that's enough. You do manage to retain the gem. Let me go ahead and roll my gem table real fast. Gems. Miscellaneous. Yeah, I think. You have gotten yourself a fire open.
Ooh, those are hot.
Let me find
It's at
you.
the bottom of the ocean, so I assume it's currently cold.
And then I'm just going to go ahead and drag in a fire open. It's worth about 1,000 gold pieces. However, the ship is traveling away at a fairly consistent speed, and you are about at this stage about 60 feet under the water, and the ship is continuing to travel while you are looting things. In addition, you do have to contend with a shark. What would you like to do?
I'm gonna attempt to ram it again. She doesn't stop to think, oh, the ship's getting away.
Okay.
Oh, there's a shark. She sees chests, and that's potential shinies.
Okay.
Do we even notice that she's gone?
Do you guys
Shit.
know? You just rolled a crit. It busts open this chest. You ram it. You like headbutt it, and the chest just ruptures. And gold coins and gems kind of come tinkling out. But inside of that chest is a small glass bottle.
Okay.
What would you like to do?
Stick the bottle in my pouch along with the gems.
Go ahead and make another dexterity check. I will say the 11 is enough to maintain a hold on the gems. It is not enough to maintain a hold on the bottle. You can pick one or the other.
Is the bottle empty or does it contain something?
Make a perception check. I will say that's enough. It does contain something. You are unable to make out what it is because it's 60 feet underwater. But it does have a little bit of heft to it.
I'm gonna stick the bottle in my pocket then.
Okay, so you're choosing the bottle instead of the gems? Okay. Because you chose to attack it a second time, I will make sure that you get that added to your inventory. But about this time,
This
You have
shark
been.
makes it to me.
you have been spotted, and it is going to take another chunk out of you. Also, I need to remove you're no longer charmed, they are dead. It takes another chunk out of you, and once again, the moment it bites down on you and realizes that you're unshifting, and that you are a humanoid creature, it immediately releases its jaws and swims away. However, I am going to update your position relative to where the boat is. You are 60 feet underwater, and the boat is bypassing you quickly.
I'm away. Can I grab a hold of it?
What was that now?
As the shark attempts to swim away, can I grab a hold of it?
Yeah, I'll say go ahead and make an animal handling check for me.
Get it? Because you're going to handle the animal.
Yeah, I will say that's absolutely enough. You are almost inherently attuned to how the aquatic animals move, and you managed to grab onto its dorsal fin.
Like to try and direct it to drive or to not
Swim.
drive, swim.
Okay. Do you have something like speak with animals?
I think so. But let me double check.
I was gonna say you're a druid. You might. Druids like to have speak with animals, or speech of the woods, anything along those lines.
I do have speak with animals.
Go ahead and you will have to use speak with animals. Yeah. You communicate in this garbled, strange underwater language. Go ahead.
I would like to direct it to help me gather up the gemstones and then take me to the boat.
It responds back as simply as it can. Cannot have duty.
But gemstones and boat.
Boat, yes. Gemstones, no. The longer we linger, more danger appears. Must choose.
Fine, take me to the boat.
And it speeds off up through the water. Let me get both of you real fast.
And it's going to fucking tail spike your ass onto the deck.
And it basically it slides itself alongside the boat and just manages the crest of the wave, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you guys see an Ashira fly up and onto the deck with a bottle in one hand, a gemstone in the other, and coins clinking out of her pockets as she hits the deck, tumbles, and stands up and waves goodbye to a shark. Bleeding profusely, by the way. Blood pouring from her torso. Like, looking rather worse for wear.
Got a bottle and a shiny. I met a shark.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's your guys' time.
Yeah, that's fine.
This fucking boat in this water. I want to turn and I'm going to look at Kassir and I'm going to say, thank you.
Pleasure truly is all mine. Unfortunately, sirens are a rather common occurrence around the Sea of Mists. We're quite fortunate that we were able to make it out fairly in one piece. Would have been quite useful to have the Paladin. I know that they have preventative measures. I wouldn't have been too worried if you had gone overboard. You probably would have been able to fend for yourself, but Kaisetri would have sank like a rock. Objectively speaking, I'm just telling you the truth. But thank for honor. I'm assuming that Shark was one of her friends. They have a curious ability to communicate and make friends with the creatures of the deep. Of bigger concern, though, was what Verona said. That there's a ghost ship above the waters. If that is what I believe it to be, this journey is only going to get more difficult. We're about 4 days removed from Cave and Chosk. Pray to whatever gods you hold dear that we do not run into them.
We'll be fine.
Perhaps. But they have an uncanny ability. You cannot kill that which is already dead. And Radiant doesn't do much good against their forces and their powers. It's almost like their essence is tied to the ship itself. Where the larger their legend grows, the stronger and stronger they become. I'd rather run into pirates at this stage. And ladies and gentlemen, that is where we are going to call it for today. I was trying to hit about 2.5 hours, which is about what we did. But I just wanted to say thanks to everybody for hanging out with us. We will be back next week. I will roll a d20 before I start to determine whether or not you guys actually run into the encounters or if you make it to Cave and Josk. So bring a set of physical dice next week. Because it is very possible that you will be playing with physical dice. But thanks so much for hanging out with us. We will see you guys next week. Happy Easter, everybody.